Big changes are coming to California real estate in 2025. If you're a homeowner, landlord, renter, future buyer, future seller, you need to hear this. These laws can affect everything from accessory dwelling units, aka ADUs, to swimming pool safety, and there's even a big update for landlords and tenants. Come on in and stay with me as I break all of this down for you in simple terms. What's up, you guys? My name is Michelle, and I help first-time home buyers and first-time home sellers save time, money, and I help them avoid stress. If you want to get in touch with me, check out all of the links below. And also, I want to invite you to become a VIP Inner Circle member and follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Here's where you can find me. My handle is Michelle Cali Realtor 1111. Okay, you guys, there's a handful of them. Let's get started. Let me share my screen. This is going to be from the California Association of Realtors. I'm going to link this in the description. If you guys wanted to pull this up on your laptop or PC, then you guys definitely can and check it out and read it in more detail. But let's talk about ADUs. So this new law is going to extend the ADU Amnesty Law to unpermitted ADUs and junior ADUs that are built before 2020. So basically, you guys remember a few years ago, there was a law that made it legal for people that own single families to build ADUs. Let me actually share this one screen. Hold on, let me give you guys some more information. Okay, shout out to Focus Law. They went ahead and did a little blog about this. So California's housing crisis has led to innovative solutions, and accessory dwelling units, ADUs, are among the most popular. However, ADUs have created challenges for property owners and municipalities alike. Fortunately, Assembly Bill 2533, set to take effect on January 1st, 2025, expands the amnesty program for unpermitted ADUs built before 2020. Okay, property owners with unpermitted ADUs can take advantage of the expanded amnesty program. This program offers several benefits, including, let's start with the first one. Local agencies will now use specific habitability standards instead of rigid building code requirements to assess ADU safety. Waived fees. Owners are exempt from retroactive impact fees, connection fees, or capacity charges in most cases. Expanded eligibility. So ADUs and junior JADUs built between January 1st, 2018 and January 1st, 2020 are now eligible for amnesty, extending the 2022 program created by SB 897. This means that property owners who couldn't afford the costly retroactive permitting process now have a more affordable pathway to legalize their ADU. And this is super important. So basically, if you guys have an ADU that you built in 2018 and 2020 and you guys have not legalized it, it's not permitted, definitely take advantage of this, because number one, it's going to add more value to your property. And number two, when it comes time to sell, then it's going to be a green flag, because when things are not permitted, that means that they're not checked out by the city as far as safety goes, right? And regulations and city requirements. But the number one thing is going to be health and safety. So if the city is signing off on your ADU and saying, hey, you're selling this property, it's a huge green flag for a buyer. And there'll be more buyers wanting to submit offers on your house, because it's definitely a plus for them. There's all kinds of multi-generational families right now, and having an ADU is definitely a plus. So I definitely want to encourage you guys, if you guys haven't done so already, definitely legalize that ADU. Okay, the balcony inspection. So the deadline for inspections has been extended until 2026. So this is more for multi-families, and specifically for wooden balconies and other elevated elements for buildings with 3 or more multi-family dwelling units. From January 1st, 2025, it's extending it to January 1st, 2026. AB 2579 provides a 12-month extension to the deadline for the inspection requirement. All right. Next up, you guys, buyer representation agreements. If you guys are following real estate, you guys know that the NAR settlement agreement stated that, every buyer who was working with a realtor needed to get into contracts, needed to get into a written agreement with them prior to joining homes. And that now is going into law. So it is now illegal to write an offer for a buyer without them signing a buyer representation agreement, to know what your services are, to know what their fees are, what they're going to be paying, what they're not going to be paying, what they're responsible for, what they're not going to be responsible for. It makes a lot of sense, right? But that wasn't the case in the past. Well, now it's law. That has to happen. And I think it's a really good thing. So let me share my screen again. Okay. Requires a buyer representation agreement to be executed between a buyer's agent and a buyer as soon as practicable, but no later than the execution of the buyer's offer to purchase real property. This law applies to nearly all types of property, but it excludes leases and rental agreements. And these agreements must include, like I was saying, compensation of the real estate broker, services to be rendered, when is compensation due, contract termination. Those 4 elements have to be in the agreement. And there's a 3-month limit. A buyer representation agreement cannot last longer than 3 months from the date the agreement was made, except for agreements entered between a real estate broker and a corporation, limited liability company, or partnership. That's different. But if it's an individual person, no longer than 3 months. And so here are some stipulations so that you guys know too. A buyer representation agreement shall not renew automatically. Any renewal shall be in writing and be dated and signed by all parties to the agreement. Renewals cannot last longer than 3 months from the date the renewal was made. Let me go down. You guys, look, this is a lot. So what I'm going to be doing is highlighting a few of them for you, okay? But then I'm going to again be putting the link down below so that you guys can check them out individually. So let me highlight a few more of them for you guys. Hold on. Okay, this one right here, this one is going to speak to a lot of people. Okay, contractor exemptions. Right now, the current limit is $500 for unlicensed contractor work. That has been raised to $1,000. That's really good. Inflation and the cost of goods and the cost of things and the cost of labor, everything is going up. Here's how it's stated. It says a person who is not licensed pursuant to the contractor's licensing law may advertise for construction work or work of improvement as long as the aggregate contract price for labor, material, and all other items on a project or undertaking is less than $1,000. And the person states in the advertisement that the person is not a licensed contractor. All right, seller's receipt of domestic water storage tank assistance. That doesn't apply in my area, so I'm going to skip that. Okay, let's read this one. Disclosures, local requirements relating to replacement of gas-powered appliances, electrical system inspection. It says on or after January 1st, 2026, a seller, if aware of the requirements, must disclose the existence of any state or local requirements relating to the replacement of existing gas-powered appliances that are being transferred with the property. The disclosure must be made either the seller or the agent is aware of these requirements. This law also requires statutory notice advising the buyer to obtain an inspection of the electrical system. So this is a new law, you guys, that's coming out January 2026. I guess they're just letting us know that that's coming in this year's update. And this is pertaining to any appliances that are gas related. So we have to send the buyer to disclosure. So gas powered appliances includes but is not limited to appliances fueled by natural gas or liquid propane. What's gas related, right? What is that? Like a water heater, a stove? And then if you're selling the property, you have to also advise the buyer to obtain an inspection by a qualified professional for the electrical systems as well too. To check the main service panel, the sub panels, the wiring. Substandard, recalled, or faulty wiring may cause a fire risk, and it may be difficult to obtain property insurance, limited electrical capacity. So it sounds to me like they're going to be having additional inspections to do with electrical in the future as well too. So that's something to notate. And to keep an eye out, if you're looking to sell your property and you meet with your realtor, these are some of the things that your realtor is going to be advising. Hey, there's a new law with pertaining to electrical. Did you guys want to check that out ahead of time? Because this way you can avoid any surprises when you're in escrow, because a lot of the times you're in escrow and there's a lot of things you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. Sometimes we don't know that we have a leak underneath the house. Sometimes we just don't know. It's always good to check with a realtor and keep updated on these types of updates so that you guys could be well informed and know, hey, what are some of the things that you guys need to do to prepare your house for sale? This is exactly what you should be doing, is checking out these updates and finding, okay, like, what do I got to do to be compliant? And things like that. If you guys haven't already, click that subscribe button. I would love to have you guys here. And if you guys are finding value in this, hit that like button as well too. Share this with somebody who might need this information as well. All right, so let's talk about fair housing. Fair housing adds to the definition of race traits associated with race, such as certain hairstyles, to the UNRRA Act. Okay, so here's existing law. In 2019, the Fair Employment and Housing Act was amended to prohibit discrimination on the basis of traits historically associated with race, including hair texture and protective hairstyles such as braids, locks, and twists. FEHA covers discrimination in the workplace and housing, but does not cover business establishments generally. New law. The UNRRA Act is expanded by defining the term race to include traits associated with race, including but not limited to hair texture and protective hairstyles. The UNRRA Act entitles all persons to full and equal accommodations, advantages, facilities, privileges, or services in all business establishments of every kind whatsoever. So here's something else. This law recognizes the concept of intersectionality in civil rights law, meaning discrimination may be based on a single individual characteristic or on the basis of a combination of two or more protective characteristics. The purpose of this law, it is the intent of the legislature to recognize the concept of intersectionality in California civil rights laws. Okay, let's go to foreclosure. It places a 90-day delay on surplus fund chaser solicitations and extends liability protection to trustees responding to requests for their payoff amounts. Okay, let's dive into it. It prohibits a person from contacting, soliciting, or initiating communication with an owner to claim surplus funds from a foreclosure sale of the owner's residence before the 90 days. Basically, what this means is no one is allowed to contact or solicit, don't initiate any communication with the homeowner from 90 days after the trustee's deed has been recorded. So once it was recorded, anyone wanting to initiate communication with that prior owner needs to wait 90 days to help the owner claim the surplus funds from a foreclosure. In addition to other protections, the trustee will not incur liability for any good faith error resulting in reliance on the information. Okay, after all lien holders and other costs are paid, the prior owner on a foreclosed property will be entitled to any surplus funds. AB 295 seeks to protect those persons following a trustee sale from individuals who are attempting to take advantage of the foreclosure process. So that's what they're saying. It's going to be protecting them. They can't contact the owners or the previous owners who lost their property through foreclosure until after 90 days. Existing law already requires a trustee to distribute all surplus funds following a trustee sale to the borrower and anyone else who is entitled to those funds. Known as surplus fund chasers, there are companies which seek these borrowers and others by offering to assist in acquiring surplus funds, oftentimes at 25 to 40% of their entitled amount. AB 295 seeks to restrict these surplus fund chasers from seeking to contact the borrower and any others until 90 days after the trustee's deed has been reported. Okay, so when a house is going into foreclosure, 1 to 4 unit properties, this law requires an additional 45 days beyond the scheduled date of sale if the trustee receives a listing agreement. So that means Let me hold on. From the trustor at least 5 business days before the scheduled sale date. Forward this to anyone who needs to hear this. Share this video. There's an additional postponed right based on obtaining an executed purchase agreement. So if somebody's going through foreclosure, they could stop the foreclosure process by putting their home on the market for sale. So instead of getting a foreclosure, and if there's equity in the house, you can get some equity back, money in your pocket. For residential, and that's what I specialize in. You guys don't go through foreclosure. Contact a realtor. Hold on, let me stop this really quick. Do not go through foreclosure if you do not have to. I can only imagine, because when you are in a state of depression or you are going through a really hard time and you're underwater, it kind of feels like just screw it. Just like let everything go. Let it go. Who cares? And it's not coming from a place of I don't care. It's coming from a place of I give up, and I'm here to tell you, do not give up. Do not give up, because having a foreclosure on your credit report, oh my gosh, honestly, it really messes up your credit for 7-10 years. And it's not good. So if there's somebody out there that if you're going through a foreclosure and you want to know what your resources are and you feel like you're giving up and you're just going to let the bank take the house, do not do that. Right now, most homeowners have a lot of equity. You can get some money in your bank. I can help you. Forward this to somebody who needs to hear this. It is going to be okay. There's always a solution for everything. Check out the links in the description. I can help you. I'm a foreclosure and short sale specialist. All right, let's get into some landlord tenant. Here's this one. You guys, I am super happy about these updates. Let's breeze through these ones, you guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the first one, landlord tenant, it expands the law regarding the landlord's duty to change the locks upon a request of victim abuse. Okay, so under the existing law, when a tenant is a victim of abuse, the landlord must change the locks upon written request within 24 hours after receiving appropriate documentation. If the person alleged to have committed the abuse is a tenant in the same dwelling unit, then a court order executing that person from the dwelling would be necessary. If not, then various types of supporting documentation will be acceptable. This new law clarifies that the landlord is responsible for the cost of changing the locks, extends the lock change protection to immediate family or household members of a tenant, expands the acceptable supporting documentation of abuse or violence triggering the lock change protection, and prohibits a landlord from taking adverse action against a prospective tenant because of their use of the lock change protection. Let's jump down to tenant screening. It prohibits a landlord or landlord's agent when screening a prospective tenant from taking an adverse action such as denying the rental application based on the following. A, an allegation that the prospective tenant breached a lease stemming from an act of abuse or violence against the tenant. B, the prospective tenant having previously requested to have their locks changed because of the abuse or violence. So basically, this is a new law saying, hey, you can't deny a tenant because of their, because they were in a situation of past abuse, of domestic violence. Any landlord or agent that makes prohibited adverse action, like denies them, when screening a prospective tenant, they're liable for actual damages and statutory damages between $100 and $5,000 and any other remedy provided by law. So this is a huge one. Let's move to the tenant application screening fee and application process. I am so happy that this is in place too. All right, so this new law prohibits the practice of charging an application fee to a prospective tenant unless the landlord or agent knows or should have known that the unit is available or will be available for a reasonable period of time. Assembly Bill 2493 prohibits a landlord or their agent from charging an application screening fee when they know or should have known that no rental unit is available at the time or will be available within a certain reasonable period. Like when someone's living in the home and they try to kind of like overlap and they're like, okay, we're taking applications. It's going to be soon to be vacant and things like that. That's what it's talking about. This provision does not prohibit a landlord from placing prospective tenants on a waiting list but it prevents the landlords from charging an application fee unless they actually have, or within a reasonable period of time, a unit available. Second, this bill permits a landlord to charge an application fee only if they adhere to either of the following procedures. Okay, either the landlord or the agent returns the entire screening fee to any applicant who is not selected for tenancy, regardless of the reason, within 7 days of selecting an applicant for tenancy or within 30 days of when the application was submitted, whichever one occurs first. When you submit an application fee and you don't get selected, they have to reimburse it and give it back to you. Finally, this excites me. Okay, here it says, or the landlord adopts an application screening process. This right here, this is something that I've been doing because when I would lease out properties, it makes sense to have a criteria list and saying, hey, this is what the owner's looking for. If you don't meet that, for example, one big one was always credit. That was like the number one thing. We're looking for X amount of credit. And this goes across the board for everybody. If you don't have this, you might want to save your application fee. I'm not discouraging you, but I'm just letting you know. And things like that, well, they put that into law. Okay, let me go back. It makes sense. All completed applications are considered as provided in the landlord's written disclosed screening criteria in the order the applications were received. The screening criteria must be provided with the application. The criteria: what's your credit score? What are the income requirements? The bank requirements? Is it okay if you have any bankruptcies? Like all of those details. What's the pet policy? The first applicant who meets the landlord's established screening criteria is approved for tenancy. Okay, this is a big one. So let's say that the landlord has 3 applicants. They all look great. And it's just a matter of like, okay, which one do I choose? No, you can't do that. The one who gets the house is the one who submitted their application first. That's how you choose. The very first one. So if you guys are looking to rent a property, the sooner you put in an application, the better your odds. Okay. If you like it, put your application in because that's how they determine of who gets the house. First come, first serve type situation. The more you know. I love this stuff because then you know how to play the game. Once you know what the rules are, then you know how to move accordingly, right? And you play to win. Okay, moving on. The applicant is not charged any application fees unless their application is actually considered. The landlord or agent inadvertently collects a screening fee and does not violate this law as long as a refund is issued within 7 days to any applicant. Okay, all right, let me move on from that one. Okay, here's another one. Tenant may request a positive credit reporting. Okay, so this one requires residential landlords to offer the tenant obligated on a lease the option of having the tenant's positive rental payment information reported to at least one of the nationwide consumer credit reporting agencies so they can report it on the credit bureaus. There's more information to read here. I feel like we're kind of going long. So let me speed this up right here. Tenant security deposits and move in, move out photos. I love this one too. It requires landlords to take move in, move out post repair cleaning photos, demonstrating the deduction. So no longer are the days where you just have that one piece of paper is like, here's what it is. No, you got to attach a photo to that too. Beginning April 1st, 2025, the landlord is required to take photographs of the unit within a reasonable time after the possession of the unit is returned to the landlord. But prior to any repairs or cleaning for which the landlord may make a deduction or claim against the security deposit. So before they make the repairs, before they clean it, they got to take a picture of it. The landlord is also required to take photographs of the unit within a reasonable amount of time as well too. So for tenancies that begin on or after July 21st, the landlord is required to take photographs of the unit immediately before the tenant moves in. And this is something that we should be doing anyways, just to cover ourselves, both landlords and tenants as well too, before and after, like detailed, just for your own personal records. And maybe you take one and you share it with each other. So you guys are like all on the same page. But anyway, that's going to be coming into law coming in 2025. Okay, so you guys can read this. Okay, landlord tenant, unlawful detainer, time periods are extended, certain tenant rights extended to small commercial tenants, loan fraud, predatory lending, mobile homes, masks, rules to extend mobile park tenancies, probate raises the limit of small estate exemption, which allows the distribution of estate assets outside of probate to $750,000. This one is a big one, you guys. This law raises the current small estate exemption from $184,500 to $750,000, but only as the real property was the descendant's primary residence. That's a big jump for an exception. The small estate exemption previously applied to any type of real property, including commercial, vacant land, or any type of residential property, but is now eliminated for those types of properties. An increase in the small estate value threshold will protect the financial security of the low and the middle income pairs, ensuring that they could utilize the expanded probate process and safeguard their family homes and assets. Wow. And then the last one here is the pool and safety spa requirements for single families. Since 1998, when a building permit issued for the construction of a new swimming pool or spa, the remodeling of an existing swimming pool or spa at a private single family home, the respective swimming pool or spa must be equipped with one of 5 safety features. For properties constructed or remodeled after 2007, the requirement for the pool and spa is to be equipped with at least 2 of the 7 drowning prevention safety features. SB 552 revises the elements of 3 specific drowning prevention safety features, including removable mesh fences, pool safety covers, and alarm. Home inspection requirements revised. Presently, a home inspector providing a home inspection report in a dwelling with a pool or spa must identify which, if any, of the 7 drowning prevention safety features of the pool or spa is equipped with, and shall specifically state if the pool or spa has fewer than 2 of the listed drowning prevention safety. This law updates the requirements of a home inspection to allow that the non-invasive examination of the pool or spa does not require a determination as to whether the pool or spa safety features meets the specifications for pool, but does require the home inspection report to identify whether the features are in good repair, operable, and designed and appropriately labeled if required. It also requires labels to be affixed to specific pool and safety features, verifying that they can meet certain standards. Okay, you guys want to know what these 7 drowning prevention safety features are? Let me see. Okay, here they are right here. Number 1, an enclosure that meets the requirements and isolates the swimming pool from the private single-family home. Removable mesh fencing, a manually operated or power-operated safety pool cover, exit alarms on the private single-family home's doors and windows, a self-closing, self-latching device with a release mechanism placed no lower than 54 inches above the floor, an alarm in good repair and operable as designed that when placed in a swimming pool or spa will sound upon detection of an accident, other means of protection. Okay. What do you guys think about these new laws? Let me know in the comments. I feel like the ADU amnesty extension is an amazing thing for those who have not yet got on the ball to get their ADUs inspected. And also, it's a huge win for tenants. The new laws for tenancy. And it's going to be a lot more better for as far as moving in and moving out. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited for those new laws as well too? No more. Gone are the days where you're losing your money paying for those expensive application fees. I feel like that's a really big win for tenants. Also, do you guys have any questions? Drop them in the chat. Let me know how I can help. If you guys haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, like this video if you found it valuable. Got some good insight as far as like what to expect coming in 2025. Thank you guys for tuning in. Take lots of care and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.